Hello everyone, it's the 1st of May today and I have a few seedlings to show you, just to show you where I'm at the moment. And this is the first tranche. I have a few more to show you after this. I'll just start with tomatoes. This is Sun Gold, which quite a lot of people grow. It's a very sweet cherry tomato and it tends to split a bit, but I've been growing it for years and I grow it at home rather than the allotment because well, I just come out the back door and I eat them. They really are lovely. Some people, such as one of my neighbours, finds them too sweet, but his wife likes them and prefers them to other cherries, and so do I. Over here is Green Zebra, which is not quite a heritage tomato, but it is an old tomato developed by someone. It's a very crisp, tasty, tangy tomato and I really love it, and you can save the seed on this one. So this gets grown every year and the seed is saved every year. It's sometimes a bit difficult to tell when it's ripe, but it does go a little bit yellow, and what you're looking for are palpatory skills. I can indicate palpatory skills just to see how soft it's getting, and that looks good in a salad, and it is a very crispy, lovely tomato. This is Brandywine. It's a lovely big tomato. It has a very dense flesh, very tasty, but quite a soft flesh. It's not crisp. I tend to slice it with a little bit of salt on it. While growing it, it tends to what I call bifurcate. Although you try to keep it as a straight one single stem, it does tend to split, and it also tends to drop off quite a few of its flowers and just have about 3 or 4 big tomatoes on the plant. It is a potato type. I've just got what today would be called red Brandywine, but it was the only Brandywine I knew about when I first got it. And I think today you can get pink Brandywine, yellow, red, and Sudus. Don't ask me how you pronounce that, Sudus variety, but this is just Brandywine to me. And it has another improved version, which is an F1 hybrid. At least the original Brandywine, I save the seed every year. The F1 hybrid Brandy Boy, the improved version, I believe has more tomatoes on it, and this year I'm going to compare them. I did grow this last year, but this year I'm going to compare them on the same allotment, close to one another. Unfortunately, this one is so small because I sowed it a lot later, so it may be not a very good comparison, and we'll see what the differences are. Then here is something called Shimmer. I've just got 3 plants of that. I bought it from Pennard Plants at the Hampton Court Flower Show last year. It's a little ovoid plant with a little shimmery colour to it. I have no idea what it tastes like or how it functions or how it grows. That's the end of the tomatoes. Here I have the wonderful Bright Lights chard, which is looking pretty manky at the moment, because when I took them out into the sun I could see that they had leaf miner on them, and I don't know how you get leaf miner indoors, because I think this is the first time it's been brought out, but I found in the past the only way I can deal with leaf miner is to just take the leaves off. I had this last year on the plot and they finally grew very well and the leaf miner went. At the back are the cucumbers. I grew Market More for the first time last year and had so many lovely cucumbers. This time I'm also growing crystal lemon, and I think it might need a greenhouse, I'm not sure. We'll have a go and see how that goes. 6 last year. Why? I have no idea, but I was giving them away left, right and centre. This year I have zucchini, which is a long green one. Then I have 2 Tondo di Piacenza. Apologies for the pronunciation. Those are a nice pale green round variety, which are very tender, and I just slice those and fry them with a little bit of garlic and they just melt in the mouth. Then I have Tiger Cross, 1 marrow. I don't need more than that. As I said last year, I had far too many. And I have winter squash, Crown Prince, over here. And I had 2 squashes, 1 plant, 2 squashes, 2 fruits last year, which I'll show you one later on. And here I have another winter squash, which I thought I'd try this year, Marina di Chioggia. Again, pronunciation, but the seed rotted, so I'm going to have another go at that and try that again. Over here I've got red rookie, early cabbages, which are doing very well. And here I have lettuce, summer lettuce, which I've never been successful with before, but I've got a few little gem, a few multi-red and green, and a few Marvel of 4 Seasons. When I first planted these, I planted them indoors. Well, I sowed them indoors, and they just do what they normally do when it's too warm for them. They stick out one leaf and then they stop. They don't do anything more. So what I did was put them outside with a cover over them, and they grew well after that. So I'll be doing that in the future. And at the back, I have a few sunflower seeds. I have 2 velvet queens, which I grew last year on the allotment, and I have 5 giant singles. And this is the second lot of seedlings I wanted to show you, and I'll just start off with showing you Crown Prince winter squash. I got 2 of these big fruits from one plant on the allotment. I planted it at one end of the blackcurrant plot so that it could trail through and round the blackcurrant bushes. It's meant to be harvested, I think, in September, somewhere around there, but it harvested itself here. It just detached itself in August, probably because we had such a good summer, such a hot summer. I ate the last one, and this one is still going strong, but I'm going to have to cut it up and do what I did with the last one, and that is to roast it with rosemary and garlic and freeze it. It is a very sweet, tasty squash, and as I've mentioned, I'll be growing that again this year. Over here are the beetroots. They're looking a bit manky. I started them off and I've got a very small bit on the allotment where I can plant them out and protect them for a bit. And I'm also going to be growing a line or 2 of beetroot direct near the raspberry plants. I think I can fit a couple of lines in. They don't take up a lot of space. They're a very good vegetable to grow, very easy to grow. And this is a collard called Georgia Southern. Now, I've not grown this before, and I'm not even sure what collards are. I think they are non-hearting sort of cabbages, and it's really, you're growing them for leafy greens. I don't even know what height they're really going to grow to. So this is an experiment, and I hope it's going to be a good one. And this is the cosmos. I've got Apollo Carmine, which is a beautiful cherry dwarf cosmos, then click, what is it, cranberry, which is also a lovely cherry colour, double, which you can't really save the seed very well from that. It doesn't set seeds. And then a white and some mixed. At the back here I've got some scabious. It's very cheap seed that I got from Wilco's, and I've not scattered them about. I've grown them separately so that I can put a few at a time in various little spaces that I can find. And I know that the bees and the butterflies like scabious a lot. Now, don't laugh at this one. This is zinnia seed. I don't normally do this, and I've seen a lot of people do this with seeds. I don't normally sprout them first, but because I've got old seed and I've heard that to grow zinnias correctly, they need to be fresh seed. And last year I was quite successful because I followed all the rules. I grew them late, I had fresh seed, and I was very careful in not disturbing the roots. So I thought this seed probably wouldn't work, so I'd do it this way, and whatever seed sprouted I would then transplant, and practically all of them are sprouted. I have also got a small second tray which has got the tall ones in, about 3.5 foot, and these are about 2.5 feet tall supposedly. Then I've got here Paul and Becky's, I haven't got it down there, Asturian tree cabbage, which I've never grown before either. That's meant to be a sort of perennial, anything from 1 to 3 years, and it grows to about 2 feet. As long as you cut the flowers off, it will keep growing. And again, that's some greens, and I'll report back on that to see what that's like, because as I said, I've no idea what that's going to be like, but it's nice to try out new things. Here I have some borlotti beans which I grew last year. Someone recommended them. They said they're absolutely wonderful. They're okay, they're nothing special, so I won't be growing them again this year, but I might grow them another year if I have enough space. I've certainly eaten them and they taste okay, but space is at a premium, so I'll only grow the things that I really love. This is not what I expected. 2 years ago, this is cobra seed. 2 years ago, I grew about 20 odd plants, and they lasted right through the summer, and then they stopped flowering and stopped fruiting. It was a wonderful, wonderful bean. Cobra is really a prolific and tasty bean, and I'll be growing them again this year, though I haven't got them here to show you. What happened last year was that it was so hot that they went to seed very quickly, and they went to hard seed, so you couldn't really eat them, whereas the runner beans went to soft seed, so I froze those soft seeds and used them in curries and in stews. And this is a runner bean at the back called Benchmaster. Someone recommended that I only grow 6 to begin with, which I will be growing in a wigwam, and then after a month or so grow another 6, which is the normal amount I would grow for runner beans. And that's what I'm going to do. I've only just planted them and they're doing quite well. They'll come up fine. And here's a final selection. I have here Coleus. I know it's called Solemn something or the other. It's got a new name, but I can't be bothered learning it. I've grown these from seed. The seed is very fine. I actually grow these to take to Wildlife AIDS Foundation. That's WAF, if you hear me refer to that in the future. They have an open day sometime at the end of June, beginning of July, it varies. And I take whatever plants I have, spare plants, to sell there for all the wildlife animals. It's a charity. It gets no money from anywhere else. And I did do about 8 months of voluntary work, half a day a week, but it's a bit beyond me. I can't do that now. It was a better colour than I sold 2 years ago, but I sell them, and I'll grow another 2 inches by that time, and I sell them about 75 pence each, so it's very good value. Over here I have some calendula, which is orange flash, which I've not grown before. I have art shades. I have 2 of these trays, and I have 1 of art shades. They grow quite easily directly in the ground, but again I wanted to place them. With the art shades, I found that in one area I'd overcrowded it and the flowers didn't look too good. They grow taller, and so I actually spread them around and they grow to fill the space and look absolutely beautiful last year. And again, the bees and the butterflies like them. Over here, this is the way I propagate black currants. Last winter I just stuck them in a pot of water, and this is what happens. It normally happens before winter. They get some nice roots. This year it was slow, and I don't know why. They took their own sweet time, and then right now I'll be potting them up. And this is what I did, cuttings I took from 2 years ago. At the back, as I've said before, and I've said to someone, I am really bad at taking cuttings of Taunton perennial kale, and I've called it Taunton Dean and Taunton Vale in the past, so please forgive me. I think I'm just going to call it Taunton Kale in the future. I think this is the first time it's worked for me, and I've no idea why. I did protect it. I took these cuttings in February because I'd knocked a branch off by mistake, so I thought I may as well take the cuttings. They didn't do too well, so I put a fleece on them, then I put a cloche over them, so they were well protected. And they've come up, and now I need to transplant them. I'll get at least 4 or 5 good big ones from here, and maybe another 4 or 5 which I'll need to take a greater care on. They've been attacked by some cabbage mealy aphid, so some of the leaves are looking not too good, but I'm afraid I've sprayed. So I am really pleased that I'll have some of those. I'm back at Wisley briefly because I don't want to bore you all with just talking about Wisley, but I never read the maps. So it was a lovely surprise last year to come across this area here, which are the allotments. It's not the vegetable patch that everyone else has. These are trial allotments for the students and for some people in the community. And yes, you're allowed in to have a look. There's not a lot there at the moment, but just have a look at what it's like. And that tells you all that it's about. And they're very welcoming. Please come in. I'll be popping back to Wisley from time to time just to show you what it's like here, but I'll always make these little excerpts brief because I don't want to bore you. This is the orchard, apple orchard, and it's amazing. You probably can't see them, the amount of bees that are buzzing round. There are other RHS gardens such as Rosemore in Devon, Harlow Carr in near Harrogate, I think in Yorkshire, Hyde Hall in Essex near Chelmsford, and there's a new one I believe coming up being developed in Salford. And it would be nice if one day I could visit them, but if anyone is close to them, maybe they could do little excerpts of them as well. Well, that's the end of another YouTube video. The azalea in the front is called Hino Crimson, and there's some lovely blue forget-me-nots and some lovely bright red tulips. I'll speak to you all again shortly. Take care.